In our Eye on Earth series, we're looking ahead to a landmark United Nations Climate Action Summit next week. CBS This Morning is showcasing original reporting. We like that. Focusing on the health of our planet. We like that too. Scientists say that climate change is increasing the intensity and frequency of heavy rainstorms. Coastal cities are doing their best to prepare for the threat of severe flooding from storms and potentially large rises in sea level. Nikki Battiste toured two communities turning to nature for help. She's in Long Island City, New York, with more on the story. Nikki, good to see you. Good morning.
Hi, Gayle. Good morning. Flooding from storm surges and heavy rainfall can be one of the most devastating effects of a storm. To protect cities from flooding, engineers often build seawalls and levees. But now there's a new and much prettier approach, public parks like this one that are also storm resistant. On the edge of New York's East River is an urban oasis, Hunters Point South Park. There are rows of seasonal plants, waves lapping at the shore, winding paths, and breathtaking views. But look closer.
We use materials that are rugged and plant material that is salt tolerant.
Tom Balsley designed this park. He says the landscape, while beautiful, also shields the community from superstorms. If the water rises and comes in here, this synthetic turf actually soaks it up?
Yes, it's absorbent. In a big heavy storm, we almost have 500,000 gallons of water being held here, detained, until the tide or the storm leaves, and then it goes right back to the river.
Flower beds disguise a ditch and filtration system that capture and slowly release water back into the river. An outer wall protects marshes that fill and empty with the tide, but can be fully submerged in a storm. You said that you design these projects to bend so they don't break. What's that philosophy?
Well, that's, in a way, that's what resilience is, isn't it? It can take those storms, it can take the hit, but you know it's going to bounce back.
Just over 100 miles south, the community of Southbridge in Wilmington, Delaware, isn't only battling superstorms.
Down here, this was totally underwater.
They're battling every storm.
When it rains and the Christiana River water rises above the floodgate cannot open. So the water just backs up into the community.
Neighborhood activists Marvin Thomas and Marie Reed have lived in this waterlogged community most of their lives. What do you remember from your childhood?
Not sleeping the night it rained. My father would say, all hands on deck, because that means everybody's going to the basement ready to take buckets and get the flooding water out of the basement.
After decades of pushing for change, they may finally see some relief. This summer, the city broke ground on the South Wilmington Wetlands Park, a project designed to stop the flooding in much of the community.
And we'll accomplish that by putting a series of new stormwater pipes in the roads throughout the Southbridge community. Those pipes will divert water into this wetland park and eventually to the channels, where it'll circulate and then move into the Christina River.
But this hard-fought victory only solves flooding for roughly 2/3 of the neighborhood. Do you think if this were a wealthy white community that you would have had change decades ago?
Yes. See, Marvin will smile at you. Marie's going to tell you, yes, I do. It would have been rectified a long time ago.
When did you start thinking about this?
Back in the 70s.
When Superstorm wasn't really on our minds or something we were conscious of. How did you have that foresight?
I lived here.
Wilmington city planners say they hope to fix the remaining flooding in Southbridge with a future wetlands project. They're also joining cities across the country by looking at ways to protect their communities from longer-term concerns like sea level rise. Boston wants to build a more resilient coastline, and Anthony, Houston is already transforming its bayou system into parks that manage flooding like this one.
Nikki, thank you. It's a battle we've just begun to fight.
The effects are not equally felt.
No.
And I like that they're spreading the word. I like when she said, he's going to smile at you. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.